Greetings, Star Citizens, and welcome to another beautiful day in the verse. My name is Crash Potato, and this is Let's Talk Star Citizen, the show where we talk about various topics in Star Citizen. Well, I say talk about them, but it's more me talking to myself, and then you guys can get involved in the comments and sort of give your input on it. I would live stream these, but I have some issues with live streams with OBS and all the software that I need to sort out, and I don't understand, but it just doesn't like me. So maybe the next one will be live, and that way it is actually more of an interaction. I don't know if anyone would actually view, but obviously it gives people the possibility to interact in that way. Now, our first two Let's Talks have been pretty negative. You know, I talked about my thoughts on CitizenCon, the demo, and then I talked about my thoughts on the Polaris, both of which are generally negative sort of opinions, and that got a lot of people triggered. So instead of talking about sort of my opinions on stuff, because I realize that's just gonna pee a lot of you off, I decided that I'm gonna go into more speculation with this show. So for the first one, I'm gonna speculate with racing. So racing is one of those things that is very easily forgotten about in Star Citizen. It's very easily pushed to the side. It's very easily classed as sort of a side activity, and that's because we don't really have many dedicated racing ships. So the racing ships that we've got is the Mustang Omega, which is an exclusive limited ship for people that bought, I think, the AMD R9 something graphics card. And then we've got the Mustang Gamma, which is the only racing ship that is always available. So with the Mustang Gamma, you can get it anytime you want. It isn't limited. Now, it is a good racing ship, but it is considered to be the weakest of the racing ships. It's considered to be the slowest of the racing ships, and although for a beginner it is extremely good, and a beginner with it can be extremely competitive against someone trying to race with an M50 and isn't so experienced. If you're talking a sort of equal skill level, if you've got a very experienced Mustang pilot compared to a very experienced M50 or 350R, the 350R and the M50 are going to beat the Mustang almost every time, because the Mustang's on the lower end. So then we've got the two very limited racing ships which I just mentioned, which is the M50 and the 350R. These two are extremely limited. They very rarely come up on the store. They very rarely come up for sale. They're sort of just pushed away and they're hidden. And typically with CIG, when a ship is limited like that, it's because they don't want people to have it. And that isn't in the nasty way. That's sort of because their plans for that ship, their plans for that role, is that they don't want everyone doing it. Similar to how the Idris is very limited, that's quantity limited, and it was also time limited. So there is only a set amount of them. They did that because they don't want everybody having an Idris. They don't want a load of people having an Idris. They want to manage how many people have it. And it's the same with the Starfarer. They don't want loads of people starting off with a very big, effective way of making money. They want people to sort of work up to it, and they just want to sort of reward a few people, just sort of trickle it in, so they can balance the economics when the game does come out, and they can balance sort of how much ships we have, and sort of the balance between people having massive ships and people having small ships. They want more people to have a small ship, similar to how the game would have naturally flown if we wasn't able to buy any ships. So the fact that the M50 and the 350R, which are the two best racing ships in the game without a doubt, are so limited, makes me wonder, where are CIG planning to go with racing? Is their limited availability got anything to do with sort of the way they plan to do racing? And one way that I thought would be very cool if they did racing is if it was a very rare sort of environment to get into, similar to racing in the real world. You know, if you look at Formula 1 racing or NASCAR racing or rally racing, etc., there's only a few people that do it. And I say a few people lightly. There is a lot of people that do it. Obviously, there's thousands and hundreds of people that do it. But there is only a few that get noticed. You know, everyone thinks Michael Schumacher and Lewis Hamilton and the big names. No one thinks about sort of the indie racing, where, you know, it's a lot less publicized, it's a lot less in the spotlight, it's a lot less noticed. So the F3 and the F2 races don't really get any sort of recognition, or they don't get the same sort of recognition as the big races do. And I would love to see that happen in Star Citizen. I would love to racing the Murray Cup to be a situation where only a few people get noticed, and the ones that get noticed in the entire game. You know, they're on leaderboards, they're on news reports, they're on, you know, if we have in-game TV, you can watch them race on TV, and you can sort of have somewhat celebrity like prestige with races, where, you know, other players, other citizens, etc., can aspire to be like them. They can train to be like them, but they are just lower down. They're in sort of what we would class as like F2 and F1 and indie racing and stuff like that. And I think that would be extremely cool. And the fact that the best racing ships are so limited makes me think that that might be the way they are planning to go with it. But I might be wrong. There might be other reasons why I limited it. They might just not want very fast fighters, because obviously the M50 and the 350R are not dedicated to racing. They can fight, and they can fight very well. So it might just be a case of they don't want a lot of people having super fast fighters, which is essentially what they are if you take them into combat. And I might be completely off the ball, but I would love if, like I say, if we had some sort of prestige racing system where the big racers, the fastest racers, got recognition across the whole of the game. You know, they had their faces and their ships plastered on borders and plastered on the side of races, and you know, on advertisements, commercials, etc. It'd be really, holy shit, that one took me by surprise. But yeah, it'd be really cool to see that sort of stuff. But who knows what we'll get. Let me know in the comments down below if you would like this to be the case, if you would like sort of a prestige racing status where you could, you know, climb up the ranks and climb up the divisions and have your chance of being recognized as a world-renowned racer and a top racer and a fastest racer, and have yourself noticed as the Michael Schumacher of the Murray Cup, or the Lewis Hamilton of the Murray Cup, or whoever your favorite F1 racer is of the Murray Cup. Let me know if that's something that you would like to see. I personally would love to see that. It would be something I would probably never get there because I am terrible at racing, but it would be something that I would enjoy, and it'd be nice to sort of try to think that I could try and work towards that and give me something to work towards other than just trying to compete against other racers, trying to get some recognition, because let's face it, we all want to be famous, we all want to be recognized in games, we all want to be on the top of the leaderboards, and we want to be noticed. And I think this would be a nice sort of encouragement to try and race and to try and do better, to try and get famous, to try and get noticed as being a world-renowned Murray Cup racer. But that is just my thoughts on it. Let me know what you guys think on it, and I will see you guys in the next video. Laters taters.